fans, welcome to another edition of the Afterbuzz RWBY After Show. How are you all doing tonight? Super happy to be here in Austin where it's 102 degrees. It's just a teeny bit more humid here than it is in California. So,
but equally as hot.
No, it's worse.
Well, no, we left, so it's not as hot.
Because we are super hot. So can I just say how weird it is to be on a panel and not have the big old headphones on?
Yeah.
Can I say how weird it is to be on a panel and have people looking at us?
You look like $1 million. I'm saying.
So the rest of the panel, everybody stare directly at Katie.
Perfect.
Eye contact preferred.
Just direct. No blinking.
Look me up under the table.
Yes.
Joining me on the panel today, Katie Cullen. Salutations! That's KIAXET. And for those of you watching in the live stream, we love you too. Send in your questions. Hashtag RWBYABTV. We will be checking and you may get your question answered.
So many
We have time. I wasn't expecting so many people here. Yeah, we were expecting like 10 people. And this is like 10 squared. So
I only have so much of my heart to give to everybody. So I'm the one who's not asking.
The lovely Donica.
Everybody. Soapbox Mark. I'm one of the producers at Afterbuzz, as well as I do a bunch of hosting as well. So thank you all for coming. On behalf of the whole company, the outpouring of support that we've gotten from Rooster Teeth and the Rooster Teeth community in general has just been
Patrick Dees.
Highly interactive, so I'm going to talk at you guys quite a bit, but I want a lot of feedback here. So I want to know, by show of hands, who's from Austin?
Like,
All right.
all the people.
All right, this is amazing. All right,
Who's
so,
from LA?
yeah.
Just us! That one person with an EV on their head. I like you. Oh, you made it in, good. You were in the part of the line that might not make it in. I'm glad you made it.
All right, so who's probably here from the furthest away? All right,
Wow. Okay, who's here from Australia or New Zealand? Winner!
Thank you so much for enduring the heat. It's ridiculous, and thank you for coming out. This is awesome.
Thank you for
If you
coming
want,
out
we'll
and
totally turn the first couple rows into a splash zone.
No, we can't even lay on
Ponchos at the door.
Go over. You're able to do that. And I'm your host, Megan Salinas. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheMenguin. That's THEMenguin. Let's get started, guys.
Do it.
So, yesterday's panel. If you were there.
Yeah.
So, and the rest of you who were here, you just wanted a recap of yesterday's panel, right? So yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. What was your guys' favorite exclusive that we got? The commentary? We will take your commentary at a certain point. We do have a mic set up.
Yeah,
But if we get audience interaction every single time we say something, we will run out of time before we have a chance to cover anything.
Yeah, we want to get to specific questions at the end. So
We
thank
will
you.
definitely leave time for your questions, but if everyone has an opinion all of the time, then why are we up here?
Half-Life Returns.
Why are we up here? Half-Life. So, hoverboard, Katie, Afterbuzz exclusive. That hoverboard, it turns into guns. Everything turns into guns. Holy cow!
It's also a gun. Everything, it's also a gun.
Everything is also a gun. Team Auburn, yes, thank God. And it's a color. Yes! Hallelujah!
Very good. I mean, the hoverboard is clearly an obvious pick. Gotta go with the fish. Seeing Blake just coming more out of her shell, especially after the past couple of seasons, it all started with the dance, and seeing her now, we actually get to experience pure comedy from her. It's fantastic.
Well, and the fact that all she had to do was just nod at the ubiquitous salesperson who owns every shop here, I swear. Nod at that,
He's an entrepreneur.
What she wants and brings it out.
He's the third member of Team Sun.
And his
Ubiquitous shop owner.
And his semblance is multiplication.
Definitely.
How about you, Dees?
How do you not say hoverboard? It's like ridiculous. Saying anything else after hoverboard is kind of a letdown.
That's why I started.
Well, thank you. No, I think the fighting arena was pretty dope. It was between the arena that they showed and the tease of a Team Funky. I'm sorry, that's pretty legit.
Team FNKY,
I think the season's going to be unbelievable.
And I have to say, because Megan said this, and I thought this was the cleverest thing ever. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw it. There was a slight scuffle as to whether the concept art we saw was a hexagon or an octagon. Because Gray said octagon. The whole audience goes, no, it's a hexagon. And Megan leans in and says, it's also a gun.
Not clever, that's the jet lag talking.
I would imagine they set up a giant gun in the bottom just to come through the
They
thing
just
and
start
fire off
shooting
any.
turrets.
Turret. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that's exciting.
And Ironwood's running the show now, which God help us all.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to end well for anybody involved, especially with the going theories that he's actually working with Cinder and Company. People seem to think that
Cinder
that's
and
a
Company.
thing.
For all of your terrorist names. John, make that a shirt.
For all of the terrorist needs. You can't wear that. You can't wear that on an airplane.
Yeah.
That was not Cinder and Company.
I gotta say, my favorite part, and I know I was telling the guys in the front row about this, my favorite part was actually the casting news. For both Winter and Crow, because when they announced, first of all, the concept art for Winter looks beautiful. She's just very classy, very beautiful.
Looks
And
like
she does look like an older sister to Weiss. It's not a complete, we didn't have a Raven Bronwyn moment here where it's like, we're face twins. What the heck just happened?
No, but they look related, but they don't look like carbon copies of each other. I like that.
She's like
There's
Waluigi,
no-
right? Like she's but like if you think about it, like the what? When doesn't sound good. Like don't.
Weiss Luigi?
When no, like the what? When just that doesn't work. Sorry. I'm just saying. Somebody else say it.
Yeah.
I just went over the giant, just straight up.
I thought we were going to keep this panel work safe for younger audiences.
You thought wrong.
Yeah. We're now rated explicit on iTunes.
We do, we try our best. But when they announced, for Winter especially, that she was going to be voiced by Elizabeth Maxwell, I gasped because I was so excited because she plays Ymir on Attack on Titan. Anybody wearing, yeah, that shirt, that's a good one.
The Attack on Titan shirt.
Oh, and it's a Sir Howard sweatshirt, nice.
Double, nailed it.
Nice, fantastic.
Megan was good when they announced her name. She was the only person in the crowd with just a yeah, and then it's like, who voiced this? And then everyone, oh my god! But she was like 10 seconds ahead of everybody.
We're watching a tape delay.
Everybody eventually caught up to me,
Well,
but
She's like, throw.
What? Who is that? But had her on Afterbuzz. Really?
So hopefully we're gonna have her in for the RWBY show.
hopefully, yeah. I'm so excited about that. Vic Mignogna being cast as Crow actually surprises me a little bit more, and I'll be honest, I'm a little bit more skeptical about that because he's a great actor, but I picture him as Ed Elric, and I don't picture him as the dusty old Crow. So that's just me. I'm sure he's going to do a great job, but like that one I was a little confuzzled by.
Well, when they started saying, oh, he's a Full Metal Alchemist, I leaned in and went, if it's Vic Mignogna, I'm going to cry. Lo and behold, I'm sitting here going, oh god.
When I saw the art for Crow, and they were like, guys, I was like, you didn't get Steve Bloom, did you? Steve Bloom! Yeah. So I love Vic Mignogna, I'm super excited, but then it was just like, hey, this thing that's in your mind, wrong.
I'm sure he'll do a fantastic job, and Rooster Teeth's casting choices have always been on spot.
On the spot.
On spot, that is not the right, on point.
Right.
Word.
On that spot.
I was up at 5 a.m. for the red versus blue panel, and I regret nothing.
So, given that the next big, I guess, arc that we can talk about is the fact that there is this giant tournament. Anybody who's like a big anime fan knows that a tournament is...
There's always a tournament. For some reason.
Yu Yu Hakusho to Dragon Ball Z, there's always a tournament for some reason. I don't know why.
Go-to for that, and that tournament had the most messed up rules, so it was great to have them immediately sit down. First of all, we had Fort and Ooblik doing the commentary. Thank God. I am so happy.
the preview clip they showed, RWBY has been getting more and more detailed and expressive.
Yeah.
So it's great to see the animation is continuing to evolve. No more shadow people again.
Unbelievable.
Person of T was on.
Shadow person. Shadow person. It's two S's for sun.
Now, I do want to ask, because Katie and I are hardcore anime fans, and by hardcore I mean we're old and we like the old stuff. We're not as much on the new stuff.
My favorite anime is Trigun, and that is not good.
And definitely Mark likes anime too.
Oh, sir.
Patrick, on the other hand, anime isn't something that he's as familiar with. RWBY is basically his first kind of anime.
I'm the RWBY neophyte, I'm an anime neophyte, so which is cool. So I'm an old school, like red versus blue fan, like, season 1, I quoted Church, to this day I still quote Church. I mean, how blue can we make this? Fair enough, but I think I could blow up a little bit of world with this. So I was like on board for forever, and really not until we started talking about Afterbuzz, that, hey, there was this new thing by the Rooster Teeth guys, and I fell in love.
Let's talk about how this panel came about then, because there's a story.
Oh yeah, there's a little bit of a story. So since we were talking about Attack on Titan, Afterbuzz had never done any anime type shows before. I binge watched Attack on Titan and it ate my brain. And I needed to talk about the show. Like I really needed to.
I came in for the face punch moment and then never left. So because she was laughing like a maniac, and I'm like, I don't know what you're watching now. Seriously?
It was pretty great. So I pitched it to them, and they were really apprehensive because it was an anime and they had never done that before. It was something new for them. They initially turned it down, but then they announced the dub, and I pitched it again, and they were like, okay, we'll give it a shot.
The initial turn down was, this isn't the right time.
Exactly.
And then we got the dub, and it's like, it is loophole.
It is now the right time.
Yes, this is the right time.
So, but the process for pitching that had been so exhausting that and then they wanted to do a Sword Art Online show as well, so I had to manage that, and so I was exhausted. And Katie really wanted to pitch a RWBY show. This is all because of Katie, actually.
Shows at Afterbuzz in general.
Exactly.
Because of Megan. Aw, guys.
Everybody.
RWBY, and I just gave it to her, and I'm like, I can't, I'm too tired, you do it.
So I went in and talked with Steven, who some of you may recognize as Booth Guy Steve.
He's our booth guy.
He's one of the
He's one
producers.
of our engineers.
And I sat him down and said, okay, Rooster Teeth has a new thing, it's great, it's this, it's that, it's the other. And he's like, nah, it's 5 minutes and joke, 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 isn't it? Because he was familiar with the very early seasons of Red vs. Blue, and that's it. So I sat him down, and I pulled up an episode, and I said, watch it. And then later it was, so can we do this? Yeah, they're going to have longer episodes, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. So he gets in touch with Brad, who is Rooster Teeth's PR person, who is a lovely human being, and if you see him at a con, you should tell him that he is amazing, because we would not have guests without him. He is part of the backbone of this show, and every week it's talking to us going, I have these people, here's the photos so you can do the PR stuff, I'll send them in on this time.
Do you want all 4 girls on the panel? No. Try again.
Hey, I can get 8 people for your final show, do you want that?
Yeah, we had everybody.
We had so many people, and it was lovely. But so Brad is part of the backbone of this.
Just hug him.
So we
You see
pitched it
him
to
walking the
Steve.
halls, just hug him. He loves it.
Consent, Patrick.
Consent.
Consent.
Producing is nice, yeah.
At least tell him we sent you, so he knows who to blame.
Right.
We consent you.
Yeah.
No, God.
But
Ask him.
So Steven decides to put a panel together, and actually initially I wasn't included on that, and I was kind of like, I wrote the pitch.
Is that right?
Steven,
Is that right? I didn't know.
his initial panel was me, because I was the one on the panel who knew Rooster Teeth and RWBY and was on Tumblr and had my finger on the pulse of the fandom.
Underrated, underacknowledged, scholar of this generation. She's a slice of Wikipedia. It's impressive every time.
No, honey, I'm a slice of Tumblr, and that's a problem.
What the producers wanted.
That's also in, because Patrick has a wonderful Pixel by Pixel podcast that gets all sorts of people, and you should totally listen to it. And we had Dave Klein, who does the, what's he called his little Let's Play videos?
He does a ton of Game Control Live.
Game Control Live, that's right. He was our lead host on Attack on Titan as well, and Matt Lieberman, who now works with SourceFed. So we had Matt as our lead for a couple episodes, and then scheduling wouldn't work out. Scheduling didn't work out with Dave, so I sent an email to Steve going, we need Megan. She pitched this, she knows as much about the series as I do. We need more women on this panel because it is a show about girls and the fandom will eat us alive if it's all guys. We need more women on this panel. He went, okay, Megan. Megan's gonna lead, she has experience lead hosting, she's gonna do the thing. And then we finished an episode, I think it was our third recap show.
Yeah, it was still season 1.
He is walking in wearing his it's also a gun shirt. And I just kind of stopped and went, you watch RWBY? We need a fourth person for our RWBY panel. We just finished. Do you want to do next week?
It was so funny because initially, well, like as the doors to the studio are opening and we're walking out because we just wrapped, we're like, we gotta get a fourth host. And literally,
I was like the medic, the guy in the doves and everything.
It was just like, you!
Yeah, it actually started my foray into other after shows. I usually only cover like professional wrestling stuff, and we're going to SummerSlam in a couple weeks, so it helped. Knowing that we had a spot for Rooster Teeth stuff made it just, sure, 100%. Because I've been since season 1 of RWBY, so yeah.
Yes.
And now being here a year later is just like, hi everybody!
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, I thought this was Alcoholics Anonymous. Straight absent.
yeah.
I have to read this because I'm getting all these notifications from the Rooster Teeth app. There's still room for the X-ray and Mav panel.
So if you guys
We're
think early and we did all that,
We're cat.
not true.
That is mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing for us. We're just kind of, there are people here.
Yeah. Are we going to be, should we recap a little bit of season 2 before we look forward?
Yeah, let's talk about our favorite moments from season 2 because coming into RTX, we are okay, we're gonna sit down and rewatch the season because, like, I'll be honest, I forget how good this show is when I'm not watching it, and then I rewatch and I'm like, holy cow, this is amazing. Why do I not watch this every day?
I need popcorn. I just need, oh my god.
What was your experience watching? So like I also watched it like start to finish in preparation for this, but like it's orders of magnitude different ingesting it all in one shot and binge watching it versus week after week after week.
Did you guys watch it again episodic or the Netflix cut?
I actually did, yeah, I was dumb and pulled it up on YouTube instead, so I got the really weird sound mixing with the, oh, everything's at a nice volume. Here's the blasting trailer at the end. Here's the blasting theme at the beginning. Oh, everything's at a nice volume. The upstairs neighbors hate me.
I will say it is definitely a different experience. And just like with Red vs. Blue, it's very different watching it week to week than when you sit down and watch, the DVD all in a row. But it works cinematically, and that is a credit to the writing and the pacing of the show that you can watch it in 5-minute chunks every week, and then like sit down and watch it for 2.5 hours.
It's crazy because they feel like cohesive 5-10 minute episodes, but on the character arc, it just really seamlessly goes through that entire experience. It's a good way to watch it.
I had forgotten how much I wanted to hit John in the face with a clue by bar.
Season 2!
Go!
It is always, and just kind of looking back on like some of the interviews that we did during the season, like it was always so funny talking to Miles because it was like, yes, like anytime anybody asks him what would you do if like you were in the same room as your character, and that's always his go-to answer is, what's wrong with you? How do you not see that?
And that was at a panel yesterday
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
There was a fan question about what would you say to your characters, and he was, she's in me, why don't you see it? And then doing a because Miles.
But I do want to ask both of them.
Can we take 2 seconds and not gloss over the fact that she just dropped a hit you with a clue by 4? Somebody's keeping score with the puns because she's going to destroy us.
Don't
encourage her.
That's an actual phrase. You've never heard that before?
I mean,
internet.
I don't know. What is internet? I know the bare minimum to get a podcast on the internet, for sure. Weekly, it's there, but...
No, don't encourage Katie. She will put in a pun every chance she gets, and I need to put a stop to
I think
it.
it's wonderful. I love you all.
So let's talk about season 2 highlights, because one of my highlights from season 2 was everybody questioning their own motivations as to why they wanted to be a huntress in the first place. That whole camping trip with Gooblet was great because it forced our main characters to really look into themselves and be like, okay, why am I here? Do you ever wonder why we're here?
I feel like it was, you know how Avatar, they became self-aware where we go take a trip with Zuko and we come back a better person. I feel like that was our trip with Zuko, and Ruby is essentially Tom, and then nothing happens.
How about you guys?
I mean, you nailed it. Any scene with Torchwood, and seeing more of some, the food fight, like the bookmarks at every end, Team Coffee showing up at the end.
Don't use it here. And the whole time,
I just want it to be a killer rabbit like Monty Python that just attacks everybody.
Someone tweeted this to me because I saw this fan art and I cannot remember who did it. Of them opening the box and it's this little bunny coming out and it's saying, "Go, unleash hell." Bless.
The best.
Whoever did that fan art, I love you. Please tweet me. You're amazing.
Patrick?
I kind of loved Sun and Sun and Neptune, hot useless. This is her perspective on men in general. But when they show up with their junior detective badge,
And then proceed to do nothing.
they're like a boss. They're unbelievable at doing that. They brought orange slices. Those noodles weren't gonna eat themselves. Like I feel like they killed it. I love Coco for sure. Just that was ridiculous.
I will say, I love the parallelism that we had, and just especially noticing this with Glinda. At the beginning with the food fight, putting things back together, and then at the end where she's essentially putting the street back together and throwing Grim around left, right, center, going, I don't have time to deal with you. I have to put a street together.
That is a great bookend to that, right? Like, so I want to know what the
Kathleen,
bookend.
she's wonderful.
She is. Yeah, we might have something there. I want to know what the bookend was to Turkey Fists. On the other hand,
You don't need a bookend for turkey.
I mean, I agree. That's gonna be my
Turkey Fist is
cosplay
Turkey
next
Fist,
year.
guys.
Just showing up with two just like turkeys. It's gonna be gross.
Have you talked him out of that?
No, yeah.
I have seen a gang cosplayer with stuffed turkeys that was doing the turkey fist. I think
stop.
it might have been an anime
Oh no, we'll just go get roast chickens from the supermarket.
Do you have any idea how expensive this is?
Got it, clear.
I have a turkey sandwich in my bag.
Did you say I'm gonna have a turkey sandwich?
I said I have a turkey sandwich in my bag.
Yes.
That is as close as we're
That is an interpretive cosplay I've ever heard.
I can throw it at you. That's as close as we can get. It's really, what I also really like about this season is kind of just seeing everybody progress, particularly Jean at the dance. Yeah, it was so nice to finally see him kind of process everything and go, okay, I feel a lot better about my life, and yeah, get in a dress and
He
do
said yes to that
dance.
dress.
He did. And have any of you guys seen the memes?
That was not a quote, that was a reference.
Have y'all seen the
But
job?
get your
It's a
terminology
fine line.
straight,
It's a fine line, right?
Have any of you guys seen the memes of people using that dance and putting it it's like Giles' theme goes with everybody.
Monty did one.
No, Monty did
He
one more
did
with
the
all
Grim.
the other team. Well, he did the Grim, he did Cinder, Mercury, he did
did the
every team. He did Peter,
Team
Cardinal for some reason.
We've been practicing. We're gonna bust that out at the very end.
Sit down, Dees.
Don't make promises we can't keep.
I'm still growing into
But
my
no,
body.
I
It's
mean
definitely not happening.
fans putting different music to that dance routine, and I swear to God, it goes with everything.
Oh, cool.
Amazing.
Yeah?
I think my favorite was when they put Dance Dance to it.
Yes! Probably another really big highlight for me was the train fight scene for a number of reasons.
Stop this train.
But what I was talking about in particular was seeing Blake use her semblance
Oh my
and using
God,
it
with the
combined
dust.
with Twice's dust.
The
Exactly.
modified semblance, yeah, that was super cool.
That was super awesome.
Team, was that Team Checkmate? Was that what that was?
I don't
Ship name.
It's like a
So what another really awesome thing about RWBY is the way that it incorporates fan feedback into the show, and just seeing that fight scene with Torture where they're using the different ship names that fans came up with as attack formations.
Just like, it's not a ship, it's actually an attack formation, so please stop shipping that.
I don't know, my favorite's Ladybug. Because it's this close to canon and the voice actors who ship it. How can you not?
We actually did have a question on Twitter asking, I'm scrolling through, from Betty Brooks asking, will Bumblebee ever be canon? Also, what's the relationship between the the Schnee sisters like right now? And by questions, we mean like discussion questions.
I was gonna
This
say, guys,
is nothing we can
don't
answer
have
tonight.
the answers. I don't think I look like my
We have all
house.
the
So,
But yeah, but just kind of in relation to the Bumblebee question, when we had Monty call in on the second episode that we were doing the recap, that was actually a fan question that he did address, and he was like, well, we do want to have, LGBT
characters on the spectrum, and then that was confirmed at the panel yesterday. Another fan brought it up as a fan question, and they said, keep your eyes open.
But
This is something that I would imagine will eventually happen. They're not just going to ignore that. But I don't think it's going to be blatant until we get, the world-ending crises.
Well, I think it's anything with any character. It's like, well, we just write the character, and does this fit? Yeah, it's a creative decision that's not necessarily, we have to make this character for everybody. It's like, this fits.
Well, and it's entirely possible that these characters are gay, bi, lesbian, non-binary, pan, thank you. And we just don't know it yet, because you don't walk up and announce that, because that's not the defining trait of the character. Yang's defining traits are her temper, her hair, her protectiveness, the fact that she's a Super Saiyan. Great, but she's not just the lesbian, she's Yang! Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
There you go.
Patrick, you were
But like, I agree with that in the sense that he spoke to it yesterday at the panel, right? So he said that this is just a world, right? And I really appreciated the question somebody came up and asked where you can get different shapes and sizes on both sides of the gender line, right?
Yeah, because we've seen it for men, but most of the female character designs are kind of, and again, you do have to keep in mind, the limitations of the engines that they're working
For
with.
sure.
But
no, I just appreciated that he said it was a world, and on top of that, sexual orientation and how you identify, it's not a thing. I think a lot of times these characters are in their formative years, right? So a lot of that isn't even decided yet. They don't know, right? They're still figuring that out. So
yeah.
I appreciate their approach to it.
And that's what Monty was speaking to, is that these are kids who are still discovering who they are, that having characters like that, it needs to develop.
Yeah.
And they want to do it, with care. They don't just want to do it, and again, make it a character where that's their defining trait.
Because the last
that's not
thing
the
we
way
need
to
is,
go about it.
hey guys, and that's it. That's not a character, that's a stereotype.
Exactly.
Donut.
So. But speaking of the panel yesterday, there was a fan question talking about Neo and whether or not that character was going to get a voice actor. And we actually have somebody on Twitter also asking your opinions, whether or not Neo will be mute or not. What kind of voice will she have if she does have one? Because it was a question they did not answer, because the way it was asked was, have you come to a decision? And they were like, yes, we've come to a decision. And I'm sitting here crying, going, that has so much potential. That could have been great. So what do you guys think? Do you think we'll hear Neo's voice at some point?
I wanted Mika Burton. Not gonna lie, I wanted Mika Burton. It's not gonna happen because she has confirmed that she will not be doing that voice. She hasn't confirmed that she's not gonna be in the show, but that's my hopes and dreams crashed. So someone else maybe. Maybe we'll check out someone else.
I like that she's a little mysterious, right? Like that fight with Yang, she was toying with her, right? Like in complete control, never even hit her back, right? Like just completely in control of that fight. And I like the idea of her never ever vocalizing anything. I think it'd be cool if they just delivered exposition all the way around her and always keep her a little bit mysterious. I loved her.
They did say she would have a voice at some point, though.
No, I think that they just said, yes, we've come to a decision.
Ones and zeros.
Yeah.
That's all I'm expecting.
So
I think you will.
you do.
You're going.
She's a robot.
We already have that.
I would love it if she just didn't say a word, but like if other characters would come up to her, give her tons of exposition or like one-sided conversations and go, thank you, I always feel like to count on you.
Oh, yeah. I would love it. Well, it's interesting too, I think you pointed out on one of our shows that like her eyes change color faster than anybody
Oh my
do, like
God,
scene to
yes,
scene
they
to scene to
do.
scene or something else, right? And we know that eyes are a really important part of this universe. I'm really interested to see how that plays out, like what's behind those
What's
eyes.
Do we have any theories as to represents in terms of like mythology, because we have a lot of animals. Ice cream. Because I always got the vibe that she was the Cheshire Cat, but that idea was shot down. I'm like, if it's not the Cheshire Cat, I have no idea.
The caterpillar.
You have a good idea?
Any thoughts?
What is it?
Go ahead.
Project.
Yeah, just yell it.
Okay, so I don't know how much weight this holds, but a common one I hear is the Little Mermaid. Coattails that almost kind of mimic a mermaid, and at the end of that fight, when she also stabs Yang, who's knocked out.
Oh God, the original story.
Yeah, the original Hans Christian.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sorry, that makes too much sense.
Theme, which was the assumption, so if that's not the case, then, I don't know.
Breaking molds.
Breaking molds. Well, we've got Cinder, who is slightly obvious. So.
Using glass. I don't know, who could that
Who could that possibly be? And she had to be back before midnight. We were all raised on Disney, come on.
That's why, I don't remember if we talked about this on the panel, but did we talk about Penny?
We talked,
okay. That's what I thought.
There's also the theory that talking with Torchwick is going to not be a good thing because the guy who leads Pinocchio astray in the movie is
Lampwick.
Yeah.
So the strings bring her back to the building.
So, but that begs the question: then does Torchwick want to be captured so that he can be closer to?
Oh yeah, that was totally the point. He doesn't. Nobody sits in their jail cell and laughs maniacally if they really want to be there.
Oh no, you got me. Seriously. I know you're a good actor.
But speaking of Penny, what do we think is the relationship between Penny's father and Ironwood?
I think Geppetto's in the
College
basement
roommates.
somewhere. We went completely different places.
College
Get together for a
roommates?
drink every month or so. Catch up. It's nice.
Old war buddies?
I'm just
Sad
having visions
dads.
of Great Mouse Detective where they kidnap the inventor and they make him build things he doesn't want to build.
Oh gosh, that'd be terrible.
I go dark. I go super dark.
It might, but actually bringing it up, it might be like, oh, he's a friend of my father's, where it's actually, you need to make this technology or we're going to hurt you and your family. Sort of a thing. It could be, we don't know.
So Ironwood is Radigan in this scenario?
Ultron.
Yeah, no, Penny is Ultron. No, shut up. So yeah, I think it's a little bit more sinister than just, hey, you want to make a robot? You want to build a robot?
It doesn't have to be a robot. Giant mechs.
I would watch that.
We are watching that. It's called RWBY.
Flaming dogs in the damn show. We're up for anything. Musical episode, let alone that.
Oh my god, a musical episode would be the best thing ever. Who needs a reason to sing? We have Weiss.
Yes, that needs to, we definitely had one fan last year that was constantly hammering us to ask if Casey Williams was ever going to get a voice on the show, which we didn't necessarily want to ask that because that's kind of a spoiler question, and
It's
people
also a
won't
little
answer.
uncomfortable because she's young.
Yeah, and he just wouldn't let it go, so it was one of those things where...
If you're that person, this is your warning.
Sorry, Mark?
Please tell me why.
That was the tone I was imagining him asking the question.
Yeah.
You can leave. Look at a fan to fill that seat. You can leave.
That was Mark's windowless van voice.
Yes. It does have a nickname.
And so, yeah, of course. At least I could do it.
Well, we've got more online questions, but do we want to kind of open it up for?
Let's do this.
And remember, we don't have any actual answers. This is all speculation.
Oh my god, it's awesome. Actually,
5 days before, man.
No, actually,
We're looking for your question.
we're not going to make anything fun in line. Just chucking them in the eye.
By the way,
Splash zone.
love
Didn't say that.
the Berserker type shirt.
Men's do not splash.
Yeah, fire away.
Men's do not splash.
What are we talking about?
Alright, so this happens in most anime, but do you think that one of the main characters could possibly be captured and maybe brainwashed or turned evil? program.
Yeah.
Period of time.
You know, weren't we just talking about petty being
Yeah, Penny program,
Yeah.
her like programming.
Maybe more like team,
More like Team Ruby is what you're kind of
or
saying.
a team like JGR.
I think if anything, I think if anything, Weiss will be forced into something by her father and by her sister maybe,
Yeah.
that will work against the team. But aside from that, I don't know if any actual
Or maybe Blake in the white place.
I think she's already done that.
Well, for me, I'm actually a huge fan of the mind control trope, so I would totally 100% be on board with that. But,
Ladies and
you know,
gentlemen, Samantha Ireland.
Welcome.
Okay, I didn't know I was gonna, yeah.
you don't have to be up here, there's a chair.
There are chairs down here if you'd rather be down there, but I felt the need to highlight a wonderful human being who does fantastic voices. That's an applause. Warhammer Pinkie Pie herself has entered the building.
I think to answer your question, I think Velvet's box is actually going to be used against the Team RWBY.
I feel like we're getting 7 references here. Just what's in the box?
Exactly. So many questions. To answer your question, I definitely would totally be on board with that being a plot point. Whether, like, who on the team would be more susceptible to that is up for debate, I suppose, because everybody has their weaknesses and everything like that, so it would honestly depend, and we don't know if anybody's current semblance is capable of that, but I personally would love to see it, but I know that there's an argument against mind control tropes that it's actually way more engaging when the person isn't being mind controlled, but being forced to fight against their friends anyway. So again, that's up for debate. Personally, I'd love to see it though.
I will say that Ruby is the least likely on the team.
Yeah, 100%.
Just in general.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, Austin.
Ozzy Austin.
Your first name?
His name is
Hey guys, some of the other fighting styles of the teachers and their sentences and stuff like that, since we haven't seen mine.
Or your weapon.
Yeah, what weapon?
Is it the case?
No, I think the biggest thing about and everyone's kind of acknowledges like a he's a big deal. What do you think his semblance is? Like, how do you think his school?
I honestly don't think any mind control. Thank you. I honestly don't think anything that we could come up with. I think anything that we come up with will pale in comparison to what it actually is, because you know when Ozpin joins the fight, things are that bad, and they are about to get that good.
I'd like to hope that they stick to the reference and that he can just project his giant head.
I love it. Great and powerful.
And his head turns into a gun. Like a Pezzi's giant fence dispenser.
I'm telling you it is, I'm charging my lasers, Jared.
We know that dust can be.
Ladies and
Guess what else
gentlemen,
we have?
Kathleen Zuelch. More chair.
It's a party, guys.
With that, we can do that.
What are you guys talking about? What are we talking about?
He's talking to your boss.
Oh, okay.
We're speculating.
So if anyone else wants to show up, we have a spare chair.
Got a spare.
I may have invited like 10 people with the assumption that no one would come. So if we wind up with full house, it's gonna be great.
So we're speculating what Ozpin's semblance is.
Can you guys shed some light on this?
You know.
That is the I signed an NDA face if I've ever seen it.
Actually, really strong character. I definitely, it's funny that you say that that because I was rewatching The World of Remnant, and they had that one about aura and everybody using their, seeing people use their semblance, which, by the way, the animation on those shorts is just fantastic. But then, of course, they end with Austin, and they don't show anything. He just takes a swig from his mug. And so
That's his power. It's dust-infused coffee.
What is
Hotter than the depths of hell.
Yeah, but what is Oobleck drinking if that's the case?
Regular coffee.
But
You can set on fire.
I don't think he's going to project his head, but I definitely think it's going to be something in line with the fact that he's representative of the wizard boss. Whether or not that means he's not actually as powerful as he said, because the whole thing about the original wizard was that he was a con man. He wasn't the thing that he said he was, and I don't think that's what Ozpin is, but it would be interesting to kind of see if that's kind of what they're going for.
Well, the king is the most important piece on the salad. The king is the most important piece on the board, but the queen is the most powerful. We definitely have a hell of a queen.
Yes, we do. Any other thoughts, guys, on what Ozpin's semblance might be?
If they do the echoey voice, I want to hear Shannon
he's not what
McCormick
he
big
is.
echo deep voice. I want to hear that because the man is a mimic.
Great question, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and definitely Sword King.
First paperwork, we
First panel, what y'all got prizes.
Yeah.
I have a question for the two lovely ladies who joined us. Where do you want your character? Don't do that. I was talking about Patrick.
Yes.
Where do you want your characters to go in Volume 3? What development do you want them to have?
How is the cookie? Pretty good.
Pretty good, that's the case.
I've already recorded a little bit for Nora, and she's already going to places that, I've been wanting her to go, and I think everybody else does too. And also, we always talk about, more backstories for everybody, all the characters. So, I think you're going to get, a snippet of something, and you're going to be like, what? What? What's going on? I want to know more. I want to know more. And then we're, going to tease you forever.
She's talking about Howard, isn't she? She's talking about Howard.
I hold crowd. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Just knowing what's going to come in the next couple of episodes for this volume, it's really exciting. Really exciting.
See you guys in December.
I would personally love if they did flashbacks and we got to see how Nora and Red met.
Oh my God, yes.
Lenore confirmed.
Match.com.
I believe the quote was.
I was going to say, I'm just the same. I just did, I was in there the other day to do some Glenn stuff. And the way this is evolving is pretty amazing. I told Carrie and Miles, why I kind of blew my mind with where this is going. Because, now we've introduced everybody. So we got the characters out there, so you know that. So now the stories really start to rock and roll. And when Glenda goes to Blood Gulch, it really starts to
Okay, go ahead. What's your question?
Well, first of all, Kathy, I'm sorry,
That's fine. I'm Kathy too.
my dad would like to say thank you for earlier.
It's nice to meet you.
This is my personal hope for the future of RWBY and stuff like this. What do you think it would be good if they had a RWBY and Red vs. Blue crossover saga?
There actually was a question about that. There was a question about having PSAs where they cross over on one of the shows a while ago. And the problem is they're under such strict copyright rules with Microsoft because of the use of Halo that they probably will not ever be able to do it. So if you want it, you gotta make it.
Well, I can imagine that they could at least put Ruby in armor or something, just and have her talking to
Like have four lovely ladies.
Yes.
All right, yes, it's already happening.
Yeah, there's a big difference between the recap and then making it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It will probably just
I mean,
happen.
it worked for Jimmy Neutron and Barry Alvarez.
I'm just thinking it would be like a one-off non-canon crossover episode like Steven Universe and Uncle Grandpa. Where everyone just kind of disregards that ever occurred, but the fourth falling was beautiful.
Good morning.
I will say that when we did ask that fan question, Miles' eyes lit up and he was just talking about how fun it would be to have certain characters play off of each other in the event of a crossover. So it's not like they haven't.
So Megan will go ahead and start the parade and then I'll play on and play like close.
They did have a little bit of a crossover RT recap.
Yeah, so we mentioned that, yes. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Great question, thank you.
My question is, yesterday, we just saw the girl with the badass hoverboard, that turns into that was pretty awesome. I mean, that was really awesome, actually. And then we have like a nunchuck with guns. We got like the Prada bag with guns. What do you guys? What would you guys like to see next turned into a gun?
Sweet, mercy.
Something not
Giant head. Like,
I'm telling you, I'm recharging my lasers. We're going into the history of the internet for that meme, ladies and gentlemen.
So something that's not a gun that is actually a gun.
I will say though, the weapons got incredibly cool. Like, had me, like, especially coming into the last episode and then in the preview we saw yesterday, I feel like we're getting even more creative with it. So I'd be really excited to see what they come up with.
I love Coco. She hits them in the face with a purse. Like you would if you carry a purse and someone's annoying you. And then it becomes a giant chain gun. Winner!
Let me ask you, what would you like to see?
Oh, that's maybe like a vehicle turn into a gun.
I want to see a motorcycle turn into.
You want to see?
I want to turn into a giant gun.
You'd like to see a walk turn into a
How about you guys? How about you ladies down at the end?
I mean, you can't get better than grenade launcher hammer. Like, really. That's already my favorite weapon system.
I was thinking that you meant like on our person, and I'm having surgery on Tuesday. I like my hand. And in Texas, I can open carry now.
kill us?
Yeah, these are
metaphorical mic drops.
Oh, don't do that.
On the phone. It's don't freak too.
It's also
It's also Scott. Thank you. Before we get to the next question, your cosplay is amazing, by the way. We need to do shout-outs for some of the people that have been supporting the panel all the way through.
We do.
We talked about Brad. Seriously, Brad's an amazing human being. Tell him hi if you see him.
Stephen Lemieux, who many of you will probably recognize from the show. He is in charge of engineering, and he works with Brad for all the guest booking, so he's fantastic.
And we have a fan named
Addison
Steele, who goes by 24-Hour Call Center on Twitter, and they make us the best fan art. If any of you saw that banner that we had with all 5 of us saying we've got a panel at RTX and here's the time, they drew that.
Yeah.
They drew the pictures of us, they put us in a team, they gave us weapons, they gave us logos, they gave us semblances. They are absolutely amazing, and they have been supporting us from the get-go. So we want to say thank you so much for that.
Some RTX art for us.
Oh my God, they just tweeted it.
An
Like
updated
right now.
version of our team. We're Team Psychedelic because of me.
Oh my God, they just tweeted it. I have gauntlets.
Okay.
Yes!
D and as for Salinas. So we have all of that. He tweeted us in the X-rated VAV style as opposed to the RWBY style.
Oh my gosh, it's adorable.
Yeah, wish we had a way to show it, but 24 hours, so 24 the number, call center, spelled
CNTRE.
the European way. So arguably the right way if you ask me.
And they do commissions, so they'll do yours as well. So hit them up on Twitter.
Yeah,
They're unbelievably talented.
Absolutely amazing. Holy cow.
Guys,
Wow. Timing is everything.
We've got about 10 more minutes, so I'm just cognizant of the fact that we've got a pretty good line here. We're gonna kind of do a little bit more rapid fire, so we'll go through some of the questions. We want to make sure we
I
get.
do want to do one more shout out for the room. Nathan over there.
Yes,
This
sir.
man.
Supporting us,
Supporting us.
supporting us, yeah. Support. All right, but yeah, let's go ahead and get on with
Rapid fire, guys, real quick.
I'll try to make my question kind of quick, but I was just kind of curious on what you thought about Raven Rodman because of like all the theories surrounding her and whether either she's Yank's mom or like someone might have thought that maybe she was Yank's twin because of the book that like was reading in the beginning about
the dark and the light, yeah.
Oh.
It's very possible that she's her mom. I don't think what we saw on the very last, I think the very last thing that we saw was a dream sequence because black sky and things are upside down and that does not happen normally. I think we're gonna get a different face when we see it, and I am super looking forward to this. Next question.
No,
negative opinions.
No. That would be lovely. I personally think half-sister, because Yang's mother disappeared, so I think half-sister is the most plausible thing.
A palette swap is kind of an amazing trick of genetics.
I have to go to the convention center, but I just wanted to say, I was in LA and I got to be on their show, and these guys rock it. Like, they work super, super hard, and I would love to be part of the team, but you guys got to watch them. And not only the movie stuff, like all the stuff that these guys do is phenomenal. So anyway, let me pause. Thank you very much.
Fire away, sir.
Alright, so see, I think it's always associated with the sun and like light and stuff like that. The show's always talking about like how light's gonna fade and like light's gonna be darkness.
Candle wicks going out.
Yeah. Do you feel like something can happen to Yang later on in the show?
I feel like no one's safe. This is a Rooster Teeth production, and just because it's made for kids doesn't mean people aren't gonna die. We have
Aliens
Cullen
are
after
gonna show
all.
up and everyone's gonna die.
Clearly George R. R. Martin is writing movies.
Scotch and laugh maniacally. Thank you. But yeah, I 100% agree. I feel like that's because they introduced death at the beginning of season 2. It's only going to escalate from there.
All right, question.
So in season 3, we saw that Once is losing access to all of the benefits of being unique. So that leads us to the most important question: is will that finally give her the opportunity to get with somebody that isn't looking for her date, and finally go on a date with Sean?
Somebody here in the room tweeted at us earlier.
That was you.
Winter is coming.
I am going to call forward here. That ship needs to melt in a fire. She said no more than once. He's still pushing. It's a toxic attitude, and that is not something you want to teach kids to do. Because guys, when a lady says no, it's not try harder. It's no. And ladies, when a guy says no, same thing. Consent.
Getting something about her.
It does. He is overriding her consent and bothering the hell out of her, and supporting that is extremely problematic, especially because this is media aimed at younger children who are old enough to start imitating these behaviors. You're still a good person, and I like you. I just don't know what you're saying.
I think it's opening up the opportunity for what we were talking about earlier with the mind control, where it's like, hey, you need to pull some weight so that we can actually pay you for being a part of this family. Which is the weirdest way to put it, but sounds like we have.
Well, and again, winter is coming. Thank you. Sorry, I'm losing it.
My cat's name is Winter, and so when they're like, Winter, I'm like, oh my God.
Please. Would you guys prefer when the tournament comes around one-on-one fights or team-on-team battles?
We're gonna get both.
Yeah, they broke it down. The first round is 1-on-4, the second round is 2-on-2, and the last round is 1-on-1. So we're gonna get it all.
We're getting it all.
Celebration.
That being said, there are a lot of questions as to what what battles we're going to see, which teams are we doing 2-on-2, who's going to be the 1-on-1.
Hero's gonna be in the final match because duh, and I am perfectly okay with Team Ruby not
It's
winning.
gonna be John.
We already know the voices in the doubles.
We do.
If
Yeah, we were at 9, right?
If Juniper ends up getting to the finals, I think that if Jean is going to prove himself enough and he's going to be in the finals, and he'll either blow it or he'll finally show off how strong his aura is.
I don't think they have enough skill. The smart choice would be to put Kira in there because she's
We're
done.
not talking about smart, we're talking about Jean.
Well, bubble about like upcoming fights, but it could be that we might not even get to finish the tournament because we have bad guys.
Yeah,
we have
we live in the outside world of it, And what I'm excited about the fights is the environment. They're going to be different environments. Like elements of the and there's going to be things that are going to work against everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And there's going to be things that work for them. Like I know something for me specifically, and I'm just like jazzed about.
We do have the comment in the Ruby panel yesterday.
I want to say
It's like the Pokemon Stadium stage in Super Smash.
Best way to put it.
Yes. Your question. You would be happy there.
So cool.
Weapon question I probably answered. I'm really all about the weapons. I missed the Ruby goal. I was going to ask about names, because obviously mine's not really Never bleached yet and stuff, but I was going to say, what was your favourite weapon? And if you could have one name like my prop, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Addison designed a sword for me, and I want it. Dispenses stabbity death is a joke I make continually, and they designed me a sword.
So I think my mind is broken. Like after I saw the panel yesterday and I saw the hoverboard seamlessly flip up into the air and turn it into, like I can't get that out of my head. Like when you see like a new Apple device and you're like, I kind of like, there's just everything else.
I literally cannot function. No, because some guys have droids.
I can't even see it. No, I can't even see anything else. Yeah.
And then we're gonna get an orange puffy vest and a jean jacket.
This is heavy duty, Doc. This is the
I take it everywhere.
I would find myself using and not just because you hear it, Nora's weapon is my favorite weapon.
Yeah.
And anytime I would do I would create my own character for any other anime or anything. My weapon always ends up being a hammer. So there's something about it. So
it's strength.
It's yeah.
And these are not the hammer.
She uses it to propel herself into, it's just the coolest thing to see her.
Yes! We're talking about stacking up tables and chairs in here and doing a Queen of the Castle thing when you guys walked in.
You took all the chairs!
Yeah!
You should say it on the microphone.
Everyone had it. It's so much fun.
So what would you want then? For you personally?
For
like in real life.
Like in real life?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, you get arrested, but otherwise.
Yes. You know what? I can't even really think of anything because I like the elements of so I can fly on the grenade, the hammer, and I like the hoverboard. I love things like that that can propel you. And you can fly because, not everyone can do that.
Yeah, I want a jetpack that becomes a gun.
So
you can dueling guns. Yeah, from the jeeps or whatever. Yeah.
Jetpack, that's also a gun. But,
lightsaber gun?
I gotta say my favorite.
Hang on, guys, hang on.
My favorite, you gotta go with the classic scythe gun. Just the first weapon that was introduced to us, there's just something really classic. And I just like scythes in general. So the fact that it's also a gun is great. But I also am really fond of the gauntlet guns. I never realized how much I liked gauntlets up until you see Yang shooting bullets from them.
See, here's what I want. A set for the arms, and then a set of mercury boots.
So you can just... But we are running short on time, so I think we've only got time for one.
You are the last question.
Yeah.
Thank the rest of you guys for lining up good for you.
Thank you. We're so sorry, guys.
I actually have two. The first is I think Opus has something to do with time because of the gears and one of the updates.
That's a thought.
That would be fantastic.
Yeah, I hope to see Glory Years thing where we actually get to see something of that. The second one is, what do you think the oldest grid was?
Dinosaurs. We got a T-Rex running around back there, and it's gonna be Jurassic Park.
Freaking Godzilla.
I think we're looking at like a lion turtle type of situation where it's an entire continent
Yeah.
that keeps moving around the world. I think it's something like that that's possible.
What happened to the Kingdom of Vale? Well, it's 3 feet to the left today.
I would love to see a water grim, because so much of the world, you know, we haven't ever seen the shore. I would love to see an ocean grim.
You know there's
Like a whale.
You know there's an island beach somewhere that's like, it's an octopus again! They have like whaling boats that go out and take out aquatic grim.
How about you guys?
But they have to filter their water afterwards.
No, really? Yeah.
No, I love like a sea monster or something.
Yeah, like the
Loch Ness grim. That would be
Well, thank you everybody for asking these questions. Thank you everybody for joining us. Blue, just subscribe to AfterBuzz TV on YouTube, follow AfterBuzz TV on Twitter.
We are starting X-Ray and
Starting
Back